Hi, Kenny.
Oh, Emma, how are you?
Fancy seeing me here.
Yeah.
We're going to, I won't be on the camera today because this is not about me
Okay.
at all.
Not feeling well?
I'm feeling fine.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. But I would like to ask you some things about your early years, your very, very early years.
Yes.
And we can perhaps talk about your mum and dad.
Yeah.
They were quite extraordinary people.
Yes.
Your mum, Jessie, and your dad, Walter, or Wally, as he was affectionately known.
Or Carvadash.
Or Carvadash,
Yeah.
yes. Now, they were very interesting and very productive people because your mum was really good seamstress,
Yes.
sewer, wasn't she?
Yes.
And
Twin needle.
yeah, and your dad was very, very good at his job.
Yes, he was a coach builder.
Did some excellent work.
Yes.
And he taught you and the boys in your family to do woodwork.
Yes.
And your mum made a lot of clothes for you.
She did, yes.
Especially band outfits as you got older. Yeah.
Well, half the family were grown up in the Depression days,
Yeah.
like your mum and dad.
Well, your mum and dad married in 1924, didn't they?
Yes, I did.
And so they were only fairly young at the time.
Yeah.
And they went on to have 8 children.
Yes.
4 boys and
5 boys.
5 boys and 3
3
girls.
girls.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can count.
Yeah.
So the first boy was Stan
Stan.
in 1925. Then Bet.
Yeah.
Now Stan was also, he played music, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also learnt from my uncle,
Yeah.
Mick Kitching,
Yes.
and him and his mate, Georgie Berman,
Yeah.
very influenced.
Yeah.
And so when Stan was gallivanting around, and apart from his work, he was a welder.
Right. Now he was 7 years older than you,
Yes.
Stan.
Yeah.
And his younger sister Betty, who came along in 27,
Yes.
and Bet, as she was called, she loved to play too, and
Yes.
sing and yodel and
Yeah, she did.
yeah,
She played banjo, ukulele,
yeah,
and they done a couple of shows with my uncle
yeah,
in the early part of their lives, you know.
yeah. So that'd be in the mid-30s, maybe.
Yes, yeah.
So
And,
you can just remember that, can you?
well, a little bit,
Yeah,
not much, because I was born with a hare, lip and cleft palate, and I spent my early years in and out of hospital
yes.
having operations.
Well, it was quite a big inroad into your life, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Having operations.
Yes. So
And that was something that in those days, you were born in the last part of 1932.
yeah,
In those days, the medical expertise wasn't as
yeah.
certainly wasn't anything like it is today.
Today, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so you had your first operation when you were only a few weeks old, didn't you?
Yeah, about 2 weeks, I think. Mum said,
Mm.
and back in them days, I used to use chloroform.
Yeah, yeah.
Terrible.
And so did you have an operation every year or so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right up till I was 13, I had 13 operations
Yeah.
there. The doctor said to my mum, if he feels like having another series of 3 operations, say about when he's 19 years old, whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I went and had them done.
Yeah.
And no more.
No more.
I had enough,
Yeah.
you know. So I lost a lot of my schooling.
Yes.
Of course, I used to get picked on a lot
Well,
with other boys and blah, 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 you know.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's right, Ken. And I think as you look back, it's probably a part of your life that you don't really want to remember very much.
yeah,
But it's a good thing to put it on the record, because a lot of people in the world suffer from that
Yes.
kind of disadvantage,
yes,
and other people with other things that they get picked on by people.
that's right.
But you were fortunate in a way, because you made some good friends along the way that
Yes.
used to stick up for you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
didn't you? And then of course Walter. You had another brother after Bet.
Yes.
Walter
Walter, yeah.
Walter Albert George,
Yeah.
known
Walter
as Wag.
George, yes.
Known as Wag because
Wag.
he was a wag.
He was
No,
a wag,
no.
yes.
And then so he was born in 1930, and then you came along in
Yeah.
1932.
So, yeah.
And then another girl, Joyce,
Joyce, yeah.
1935, and then young Frederick came along
Yeah, Freddie the Frog.
in 38. And then your another brother, Robert.
Another brother, Robert,
Yes,
who had the same deal as
He-
me.
he had a hare lip and a
Yeah.
cleft palate as
Yeah.
well.
We don't know how it happens, it just happens.
Yeah,
You know.
and you were a great help to your mum, because she couldn't feed Robert, of course. So
Yes.
you had the technique of feeding him with a bottle.
Yeah, well, the sister said to Mum, Mrs. Kitching, what about if we give Kenny the bottle and
Yeah.
we'll put Robert in his bed and feed him with a bottle?
Yeah,
So that's what happened,
yeah.
because he kept losing his
Losing
milk
the milk,
through
yes.
his lips and that,
Of
you know.
course. Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
And Robert, God bless him, has since passed away
Passed away.
a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And no, a year ago.
Yeah.
Not more, just over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I think he didn't have quite as many operations as you did.
No, he had 11, I had 16.
Okay. So, and he got on with his life pretty well,
Yeah.
didn't he?
He done his
Apprenticeship.
apprenticeship with PMG.
Yeah, yeah. And he led a very good life, good and
Yeah.
happy life.
Yes, he did.
That's wonderful. And then Margaret came along,
Margaret came
the
along.
baby of the family,
Yes.
in 1942.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Margaret's been a joy to all of the family,
The
hasn't
little
she?
princess.
Yeah. and I remember hearing Bet, who has passed on very
Yeah.
sadly, but I was very close to Bet, and
Yeah.
Bet used to say, when I heard that Mum was having another baby, I said, "Oh, Mum, not another one," because she was about 14 and
Yeah.
she was a great help to your mum,
Yeah, she was.
wasn't she?
Yeah.
So she did a lot of the baby caring,
She was a great sister.
yeah,
Bet. Yeah.
and chasing after the little tykes,
Yes.
getting them in the bath,
Yeah. Getting them in the bath. Yeah.
and all that.
That's it.
And so,
Hard times.
yeah, they were hard times,
Yeah.
because then you were born, and then along came the depression
Yes.
and the war.
Yeah, well, the depression was on then.
Yeah, yeah.
30s
Yes.
or something.
That's right, 1929
Yeah, right.
to in
So
through the
I was
30s.
amongst that lot. And,
Yeah.
some of the family were
And you
too.
saw some of your family go
Yeah.
to war,
Yeah.
and then
My uncle Roy.
and come back,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah.
And I think that was a defining part, like the friends that you had when you were little, like Bobby Riddle
Yeah.
and the Bowmans
Yeah.
and lots of different friends. And
Bobby's wife too, Bernice.
yes,
You know.
that's right.
She was a New South Wales junior champion tennis player.
Yes,
You know,
after a while.
and we still talk, and we still talk about it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And those friends are so precious, aren't they?
Yes.
And
My word.
I think they.
Bobby's been a great mate.
Yeah.
And,
I think to still be able to talk to them
yeah,
about things that happened years ago,
yeah,
and talk about the cars you had, and
yeah,
talk about what was happening at the time, the little trips you made, here, there, and everywhere.
anyway,
Yeah, and as you got into country music, they would have seen all that Hawaiian and country.
yeah. Well, it all happened when I was 7.
Yes.
And my Uncle Mick brought a trio down when I was 7 years old, and he had this guitar on his lap,
Mm.
you know. And it sang,
Yeah.
and my ears went,
Yes.
"Come to me." So
Oh,
he
that's right.
planted the seed.
Yeah.
So I've been halfway around the world 4 times, and I was told once, "Ken, you won't be able to play because you can't read music."
Yes.
I said, "Well, I have another story.
I've got other ideas.
I practice."
Yes. That's right. And there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken.